Okay, let's open Pandora's box and let all the evils of the world into the world, I guess. Wow, we've already been... Oh, that was like a 2-hour section of trial almost. Shows! How you doing, buddy? You got a lockpick for me? I'd like to open the helmet. Last time you came to one of my trials, you had been shot. It's okay, Hairbrain. Sparky doesn't understand either. We don't know. Foreboding. Yep, Van Zieks is very intimately tied to the case. His friend from university is in the dock. The waxwork of the killer who took his brother's life makes an appearance too. I don't think anyone saw this coming. I didn't do this on purpose. You don't say that everybody's connected to this case. I'm not a member of the set. Susato isn't a member of the set yet. Iris, potentially a member of the set. Sholmes is part of it. He's definitely in on it. Dr. Scythe! Come here to extract your revenge on us for calling you to the witness stand, eh? Well, I'm not going down without a fight. This katana's not just for attracting mates. Sholmes, you knew about her former last name. Her daughter was ready to slice me up. God damn it, Gregson! Gregson, you little snitch! Nothing but corpses and disinfectant. Policemen on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened, hoping you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That won't be possible. Lord Van Zieks won't be summoning you as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it! Pandora's box you were worried about is the professor's case! You fought crime in the way that you see fit. No regrets! Well... Yeah. Sholmes is really just kicking back and enjoying the show. Pursue it like a dog. Perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth. Pursue it, okay. To the bitter end. Not falter whatever may come to pass. Caramel! Woohoo! I forgot he keeps caramel on him at all times. Alright, you know what Sholmes said? He said, don't hold back at all. You see the truth? Jump on it like a hound. I really hope this doesn't go the way I'm thinking it's gonna go. Because that would be very not good in general. One thing's for sure, we're getting that mask off of the wax model. 100%. The real question is, what are we going to see underneath it? One thing we know for sure, they're definitely not dead. Shut up, Antiques. Oh, she's already in the antechamber. Yeah. Yeah, Scythe was his accomplice. We proved the connection. We proved stuff. We linked them to the case. And then we show Kazuma's fate. Who's Sholmes? She's making the Sholmes waxwork! My name is Madame Esmeralda Tespels. I'm a waxwork artisan, the proprietress of Madame Tespels' Museum of Waxwork. You have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. It's impressive how she can read our thoughts. They're finally making a Sholmes! Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face? A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped. Waxwork model kidnapped? Yes, my lord. There's a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I've just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim. At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. You saw the giant shard of glass, didn't you, Van Zeeks? Where the hell do you think that came from? But of course, I know him well. He is part of my odious personages. It has to say what is evident. Mr. Asmund does not resemble the professor at all. But perhaps their faces are very similar. Are you suggesting we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have here the key. It is strictly forbidden to open the lock. This is absurd. Pardon? I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath the mask. But clearly, it won't be that of the actual killer. Indeed, the man's identity was never made public, after all. The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There's no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hand on that information. Quel dommage. It would seem you are unaware of the Tespels' principles. What principles? Family Tespels has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila, our principles. Legend about the Tespels waxwork from the time of the French Revolution. Remember that the Tespels family is said to have made a waxwork of the Queen who was executed. Queen, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the Queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You're correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors, which spells will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our statues. Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose. It is the only way to obtain truly lifelike representation of the suspect, or the subjects. It's been my family's secret for generations. You mean to say that beneath that mask? Oui, the true visage of the killer is there. This is ludicrous. It's out of the question. The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, Madame de Spell's special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave is a sight to behold. You should come. I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on the matter. Explain every detail of this macabre model, and your personal involvement in its creation. With pleasure. Give me that key! Actually, exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. Impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Dispel's family principles. This is the aid of the gravedigger created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself till he gave me the signal. I was there for a very long time that night. I was not approached. I was very worried I could be discovered. Yeah. State secrets? Well, we're only on the third case and we're already going to reveal state secrets. Can you name the gravedigger for us? So you truly saw the face of that monster. Naturally, I was aware at the time his identity was a secret. Dispels would not be Dispels if we did not insist on absolute fidelity in our sculptures. I don't believe this. I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madame. Truly but curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave. The scene depicts what the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time. There he is! Ball mask to blame for the Great Blaze. The Great Stink! Krakatoa Eruption! Mad Sheep Rampage! Mr. Drebber's Dreadful Encounter! Asmon! What the hell? Asmon's an artist? Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. Public enjoys absurdity, monsieur. That's why I've reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. It's a wax work from that exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it? That is correct. The professor you see before you here. Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. Blackwood links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. There has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. Let's look at that newspaper we just picked up. Charles Darwin to receive Copley Medal. Look at that. O. Asmon. Number 139. Claws. No actual face. He had a picture by him. Why did he take the picture? Great cemetery just behind the prison on the night of the demon's execution. A newly emerged professor forced his grave. First off his grave cover when he clawed free of the earth. The young man who witnessed the scene was on the verge of raising a shriek when, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath stilled once more. The youth then finally realized the scream he had been holding and ran for his life. Somebody shot the professor as he was trying to get out of his grave? I don't think these are the... This remarkable circumstance in which a folded sheep were seized with a sudden fight and leapt from the pens? Did Scythe shoot No. She wouldn't, would she? Okay, I believe that.
Hold it!
Let's talk about the corpse. Letters from imprisoned criminals. My time comes, please make a waxwork of me? God damn it, Sham Spear. Nothing says hardened criminal better than wax.
Hold it!
Tell me more about the Gravedigger. Aha. Yeah, she's ready to screw over all of London. More ready than I was. Oh. A visit to wicked death. Always wait until 3 hours after death. Oh yeah, rigor mortis. "10 hours, the entire body is rigid and inflexible. Thus will slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. Ah, time of death estimations. Ah. I'm learning a lot about corpses here. Sure, it's significant. Why is it important? It's the same signature. Alright, so what types of evidence are we gonna need? I don't know. Boo! Sato.
Hold it!
Let's talk more about the rigor mortis. Wait, hold on. Let me check the. What does the autopsy report say? Midnight, 17th June. So, midnight in summer. Yeah, I don't want to be good with corpses. Let's talk more about being discovered. June, earliest sunrise of that year. 4:40 in the morning. Half an hour. Sure, throw everything in. So, what do we know? Death confirmed at midnight. Let's talk about the first one.
Hold it!
The first thing. Before I start trying to present the autopsy report left and right. Uh-huh. Woo! Wait a second, I read this! This is in the newspaper! Foul Demon's execution. Third professor slid back the slope. The man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. Instant later, an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. It struck the emerging corpse. He fell motionless once more. But who shot him? This is very pertinent information that we don't have anything about. Is the professor actually dead, or is the professor alive? moments of the truth. But it's possible for someone who's... Yeah, well, Kazuma was dead, but he's standing in the courtroom.
Hold it!
Let's talk about this again. The warden... Before the onset of rigor mortis.
Hold it!
Let me just ask about that again real quick. It starts at the jaw about 3 hours post-death. Then he wasn't killed at midnight then. According to the autopsy report, he should have been in rigor mortis, right?
Objection!
Madam Tispels, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago. Confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. Yes. Testimony, in particular detail in the report, completely contradict one another. Are you going to explain yourself? Explain yourself now! According to her testimony, Madame Tispels was creating her wax impression just before dawn. At the time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 to 3 hours after death. The man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. On the other hand, if you had a look at Dr. Seith's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, by the time you were sculpting his face, the rigor mortis would have already set in. Oui, yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time. Impossible. Also, I can't help but notice Van Zieks has kept his cape on this whole trial. Counsel, this is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Seith, but you also implicate members of the staff at Barclay Prison, where the execution took place. By heck, extraordinary! Not in my day! learned friend appears to overlook one very crucial fact. What fact? The professor died that night, without question. He did, of course he did. With the man's limp jaw in my own hands.
Objection!
Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? Didn't die at... Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe. It would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and one other person of interest. Evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. The article? That seems to be the only thing I really got. Council, present this evidence at once! Evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of his execution. This.
Take that!
It's a good thing I read the article. What happened last night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting there's a corpse coming back from the dead now? Well, if the article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again. Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? Point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened. My word, yes indeed! Masui, the young man who stole into the cemetery by chance.
Objection!
Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself. Obviously the man made it all up. Then why don't we ask him, Barrack? That was 10 years ago. On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well. What? Suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place? Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes. You'll substantiate your latest claim now, then, counsel. Who is the alleged witness of the staggering crime? Drebber.
Take that!
It says it in the article! Many questions, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Drebber. The previous witness? Special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. A condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. That young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber. Order, order, order! Surely not, counsel. Drebber was there, in Lowgate Cemetery. What is all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant? Of course, Madame Tuspels doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. To your situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. None! But that would mean... Madame Tuspels. It would appear you know the name Enoch Drebber. Oui, yes, I know it. But from long ago in the past. What? Oh my! Good gracious! Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know. Yes, yes, of course. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all of the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never... Did you not show us the newspaper that had his name in it? That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown in court. Saying his full name was only publicized in this article? Goodness me, yes, here it is! The university student to experience this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms. Unbelievable! Right there! I read the article. I wanted to meet with the man. The discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night make a perfect exhibit for my house of horrors. Whether it was the truth or not. I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt the waxwork of the man, did you? Exactamente. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. Paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. Since that time, it's been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. So, you coming back to the stand, or are we just gonna sit here? 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death, re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. The public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was so soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's build is a poor match for the victim, and its face is obscured by a mask. The question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. The birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Asman, but that of the same waxwork. The coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated, Dr. Scythe, would have noticed immediately. And yet she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber. But that misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as the body double. Ugh. My lord, this court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. Defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected. But according to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case? Told us so herself, didn't she? Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Lord Strongheart? Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor's case. Please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Quick, threaten her with national secrets. They worked on Gregson. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution. Surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Zeeks! Come on, Barrack, for old time's sakes! The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. But, Lord Van Zeeks, missive was issued from Lord Chief Justice.
Objection!
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me. Yes. Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together. Woohoo! We're in! Order, order, order. Very well. I will uphold your request. Bailiff, send a subpoena with immediate effect. Direct to Dr. Scythe of the Forensics Investigation Team. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders. Alright then, Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. They weren't colluding with one another. This crime could never have been committed. He's always been a human. He's not the Reaper. I'm just a stone's throw away. I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. Scythe? Why is Tuspel still here? This is a nice jingle. Thank you for attending at such short notice, Dr. Sykes. Disappointed in you, Lord Van Zieks. Completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt. The beginning of how Van Zieks will be on trial next time? I don't know if it's going to be next time or case 5. If there's even 5 cases in this one. Maybe there's 6 cases. Victim Machine Workshop. Kill. Scythe. You were the first one to examine the victim's body. Defense believes that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime. And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? Talking about, of course, the waxwork. No. Osmond is most... well... That's a good point. I didn't think about the fact that Osmond could no. We got the picture of him. Hold on. Osmond is 100% dead, and it's because of this picture. Stabbed through the heart, some broken neck. If he is still alive, then that's completely crazy, but... yeah, I'm pretty sure Osmond is dead. And then you came back. That's true. She's the one who did the execution. She had a gun. And what's his face over here on the left knows about it because he was there. Well, he might know about it. He also might have ran away too fast and not seen she was there. More newspaper reports from the time on the night following his execution. Until he came back to life and got shot by someone, and that's you. Sole witness is Drebber. What you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality. Make you privy to a great secret of Dr. Sykes. A secret so profound it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme. Mr. Drebber, tell the court. Tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night at Lowgate Cemetery. So he was the student who saw it. You can see the resemblance, actually, can't you? With the men in Madame Tussauds, I mean. Surely he's not going to claim that's really what he saw, especially not after all these years. He was a research student at the University of London, wasn't he? And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. What an interesting twist. When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. Yet now, here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters, and in a court of law, too. Oh yeah, watch me do my robot dance. Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank, I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night for what it's worth. So, Mr. Drebber, your testimony, please, about the events of that night 10 years ago. You'll tell the court exactly what you stumbled across at Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, of course, as you wish.